I love the nightlife. I love to boogie.
On the disco oh yeah.
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we're scrolling through r/NeckbeardStories. I don't come here very often. Usually it's from my personal subreddit r/ReddX reads, but sometimes there's like some good one-off tales and stuff like that. I don't want to get involved in any series from here, but one-offs could be nice. So let's kick back, enjoy some of those today. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get on into this thing. This one rather short, titled Neckbeard Spotted in the Wild. Well, make sure to chronicle your findings there, OP. Unhappy Machine Spirit. That's a great name, by the way. I really hope this counts here because this is the funniest thing I've seen in a while. I spotted someone on Twitter saying that Warhammer's only for boys and girls should go back to Barbie. He said that boys should have their grim, dark war gratification, and I pretty much told the guy that Warhammer as a concept isn't just for boys, and most people grow out of thinking girls have cooties by adulthood. He then replies with the most nutty and neckbeard thing I've ever read, and it goes as follows. Oh, straight from the beard's mouth. I've been married for 20 plus years and the subject of much admiration by ambient females. Oh my God. I'm sure that's true, but the way you said it, just come on. Wow. Unlike yourself, I have actual experience of real women's, ones without dogs. They're not just little men that are crap at fighting. Their brains, too, are really different. And a lot of blokes fail to realize this. Wow. Sounds like you've got it all figured out, buddy. And then you just slowly start backing away. I'm not going to engage with this. I don't have the time or the mental energy. Understand. 100% of the female Warhammer fans, a very small minority of the total fan base, are actually the devoted fans of a man who's a Warhammer fan. Husband or boyfriend or dad, and they pretend to like it in order to enter that man's weird autistic world of war gratification toy soldiers. Not because they like it, but because they like him. Oh, now that you've described this scenario that only took place in your head, it makes a lot more sense to me. Like, you really don't believe that women can enjoy war games just as much as men? There's strategy to it. I will admit that often, quite often, men have more of a partiality towards strategy games, but go to a PC cafe and get your ass kicked by a Korean girl in StarCraft and tell me you don't feel different. The world is a rich tapestry, and yeah, people need to be judged on like an individual basis. This is painting with far too broad a brush, which I do enjoy sometimes to get under people's skin and whatnot. But there's a time to get under people's skin, and there's a time for active and open communication. And yeah, if you're not doing open communication, then we're not going to get anywhere. Both of us are wasting our time here. But that's often how it goes on the internet, so yeah, I guess just sort of accept that. And all that is fine. Whoever told you that the gender differences has to be erased for holy equalitarianism is a literal malevolent artard, and you would do well to not listen to those particular voices in your head. Wow, dude, that's just the entire post was quite a ride. I wish it had been a screen cap to add some more legitimacy to it, but I guess there are psychos like this out there, you know? Some top quality schizo posting, I tell you what. OP says, so I'm sorry, ladies who like Warhammer. I guess we're all just mindless sheep who only like things to impress men, according to this specimen. Nutcases like this guy really serve to give Warhammer a bad name. I hope this man can return to reality one day. He might be a bit too far gone, though. I mean, yeah, he definitely is, but who cares? Do we really need him back? That's fine. You play with your little plastic toys, okay? Oh, and he will. He'll hang a sign on his mom's basement that says, no grills allowed. And he writes the S backwards because he thinks it's cute, even though he's fucking 50 years old. His mom's got dementia. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on anymore. She walks downstairs and stumbles onto his Slaneshi army and has a demonic flashback or something. Poor mom. But I don't know. You produced it. You deal with it. Though he said he's married. I don't know if I buy that one. If it is the case, poor wife who's taken the place of the mother. Anyway, can't be bothered to suss that one out any further. I've already made up enough backstory for him, so we'll just move on into our next post and see how that one goes. This one titled, A Train Ride with a Gross Neckbeard. Well, sounds like a mercifully short interaction at the very least. Welcome in user Adele Cypher. After my last post, I wasn't expecting to write another Neckbeard story so soon, but what do you know? After years of peace from weird guys, well, another one shows up. Yeah, inevitably. There's a lot of them. Weird guys just wandering around. I did look, and it seems like OP has a couple other stories, so we'll get to those after this one. This happened a few months back while I was waiting for a train home. Although most of my university buddies are from different cities, none of them take the same train that I do, which means I mostly travel alone. Well, carry pepper spray, that's what I say. I don't know why, but a lot of people tend to ask me for directions, so talking with strangers while I wait for the train isn't all that unusual. You probably got like a friendly face, you know, you're not too imposing. Maybe you don't look like an out-of-towner. Start carrying around a fanny pack, then people will stop asking you for directions. This time around, however, I was sitting alone, not paying much attention to the people around me, when suddenly someone says, "Hello!" and sits down right next to me. Thinking that this is another person that needs help, I politely say, "Hi," and wait for them to tell me where they're going. Then out of nowhere, this guy just casually grabs my hand and kisses it. Why does this keep happening? Like he's some kind of knight in a medieval movie or something. I can't even describe how much I felt my skin crawl when his nasty, dry lips made contact with my arm. Oh, not just the hand, he's kissing his way up the arm, scratching you with his dry lips. Hateable. I've never experienced something this gross in my life. I was honestly in so much shock from the moment that I didn't even think of just getting up and leaving. Yeah, run. It's the only right answer.
Run, bitch! Run!
For some reason, my dumb and polite brain stayed put. I just honestly didn't know what to do, so I just sat there talking to the guy, trying to think of something. What you do is hold your index finger up and say, "Let me show you a magic trick. Watch closely," and then you poke him in the eye and run! Spoilers, I didn't think of anything, and instead just listened to his weird life story about how he was returning from his girlfriend back to his wife. Yeah, this greasy beard apparently had a wife that he was openly cheating on, and he felt completely comfortable with telling all of this to a stranger. Well, I don't believe that for a second. There's no girlfriend, there's no wife, unless we're talking about a couple pillows living in different cities. Yep, just coming back from my romantic tryst inside of a U-Haul container. Okay, cool. I'm glad you could tell me all about that. OP says, if that wasn't weird enough, he politely asked for my age. I didn't tell him my exact age, just that I was in my 20s. And how old was he, you might ask? He was 40. Once again, no shame in admitting that to a random girl he just met. After that unnecessary information dump, he complimented me and then proceeded to ask for my number or if I wanted his. At that point, I just immediately shot him down straight up, telling him, yeah, that would be weird. And I left it at that. I mean, honestly, yes. I don't think you should have any shame telling someone that you're 40 years old, but it is weird when you're hitting on someone half your age. That's the shameless part of it all. He tried a couple of times after that, saying, are you sure you don't want my number? And I turned him down every time. There you go. At least we are holding up some personal boundaries. You can invade my train time, but yeah, don't live inside my phone. I would hate that. Right after that uncomfortable exchange, I heard the intercoms announce that my train would be arriving at a different platform from the one that I was waiting at. This seemed like the perfect moment to escape this creep, but what do you know? He followed me to the other platform and on the way told me that he was taking the same train. Yeah, what a coinky-dink. Luckily for me, he wasn't getting off at the same stop, so I would just have to survive the train ride and then I would be free. But a miracle happened while I was looking for my reserved seat. I found my seat, and to my horror, the seat right next to me was empty. I could see on his face how happy he was to sit down right next to me again. But as soon as he sat down, a girl came over and said that the seat he was sitting on had her reservation on it. In the end, he was defeated. He got up, and thanks to the train being absolutely packed with people, he had to go look for a free seat in a completely different cart. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't just, stand there or something. Take the hint. There you go. Off you fuck. I sighed in relief and quietly thanked the girl for saving me from that creep. After that gross experience, I was happy to talk to someone normal on my way back, and I purposely left the train on the opposite side just so I didn't bump into that creep again. Lesson for everyone who travels alone: always be around a group of people, or better yet, have a friend with you to prevent these creeps from getting to you. Yes, I have a friend. His name is Mr. Cutty Knife.
In case I have to chop down a rival alpha male.
That's all you really need. But yeah, if you could avoid the situation, I think that's ideal. You know, pop the AirPods in or something. You don't have to actually play music through them. You can just selectively ignore people, which I find very convenient. It's like, oh, no, I had my music on. I don't want to engage with you. What's he gonna do, have a public tantrum meltdown inside of a train station? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but they'll come in here. They'll haul him off relatively soon. You know, just like that, we've cut a 30-minute awkward interaction into a 5-minute one. You pack the same amount of awkwardness just into a shorter span of time, which I find convenient, personally, although some people might disagree. Doesn't matter. I do want to see what OP's other stories are about, so we'll go digging through the profile, and I'll show you guys what I find. This story is called Young Neckbeard Desperately Tries to Kiss Me, Then Proceeds to Chase Me Home When I Reject Him. It's quite a mouthful, yes. Unfortunate circumstances. Does this happen on the train as well? At a certain point, I just get a fucking bike. Anyway, hi Reddit. This is my first time posting anything here. Also, English is my second language, so feel free to give me feedback on the format of the story or any mistakes that I might have made. Oh, you can count on me to do exactly that, user Adele Cypher. Welcome back, by the way. OP starts out, so before I start describing what happened, some facts about me to make the situation more clear. I'm a tall brunette with brown eyes and a bit more boyish demeanor. Tomboy, something like that. I love playing video games, fishing, etc., so I'm not exactly a girl that guys would be after all that much. Well, don't sell yourself short. Guys do love video games and fishing. Back then, I was about 13 or 14, suffering from severe anxiety. Had regular panic attacks from pretty much anything that happened to spook me. Even something as ordinary as going on a school trip. Yeah, it was that bad, so I basically didn't go on any trips back then just so I could remain calm. And I was extremely socially awkward. I'm still socially awkward today, but it's not as bad. Now I'm just your regular introvert who enjoys the safety of her room. I mean, it's important to venture out into the world sometimes. I understand the safety of your room and whatnot, but that's not really living, is it? Like my good friend Pat the Bunny said, if we aren't dead yet, then let's not live as ghosts. And if we aren't in jail, then we can leave the house. But also, I can't tell you how to live, and you do whatever you want to do. Now on to the story. Our character will be me and the Neckbeard, who we'll call Classbeard, since he was my classmate back then. We were both around 14 then, and even though Classbeard was young, he still had the defining features of a soon-to-be Neckbeard. He was on the heavier side, smelled so bad that he got in trouble at school for it, was a hardcore gamer, and those were his words, not mine. He was absolutely anime obsessed and always had chips and soda at school. I'd never seen him eat anything else. Back then, my country didn't sell Doritos or Mountain Dew, but you get the general idea of his favorite foods. It's like that German Neckbeard that liked Crunch Chips and Spezzy. No matter what kind of pop or chips you have, Neckbeards will eat it. He also felt entitled to every girl in our class, and I'll get more into that at the end of the story. I mean, I do sort of want to feel bad for him just because he's young, like clearly nobody's taking care of him. Why does he smell so bad? Is it his laundry? His parents don't care if he washes? Like there's more things going on at home, you know? It doesn't give an excuse for the things that he's going to do in the story, but, you know, I try to understand a little bit sometimes, maybe. Anyway, this happened in the middle of winter. It was late afternoon, but it was already dark outside. Nights get really long over here during winter. I was playing games as usual when my phone rings, and to my surprise, it was a message from Classbeard. He never messaged me before, so I was kind of confused, but also curious. It was just a casual classmate exchange in the beginning, but then at some point he switched the topic and in the end basically asked me if I wanted to go for a walk with him. Not a date, just a simple, friendly walk around the neighborhood. Oh yeah? You a big walker there, Classbeard? He had something important he wanted to tell me, and he wanted to tell me in person. Like I said before, I was extremely socially awkward, so I said no, but then he started to pressure me, and he even said that he was already waiting out in front of my house. Yeah, he was actually standing there in the freezing winter, just waiting for me to come outside. Dude, that's what? Red flag. No, abort this mission. I should probably mention that the town I live in is pretty small, so most of my classmates were also my neighbors, so it was really no surprise how quickly he got there, but it was still weird how he decided that I would go, even though I had told him no. See, getting a little pushy and stuff like that. You don't like to see that too much. Why do I want to go and walk around in the cold with you? I don't. He's like, here, you can have my stinky pheromone jacket to warm up. No thanks, I'd rather catch hypothermia and die. Do you understand? So after a lot of convincing, I reluctantly agreed, and I was not happy about it at all. Even my gut was warning me about the incoming disaster. I mean, you are supposed to stand your ground, but as a 14-year-old, I wasn't great at doing that either, so I sort of get it. You wanna fit in with your social peers and whatnot. Anyway, my mom was also against this idea, but we both agreed that I should try and get out of my shell a little bit. Terrible idea. And we both thought we'd just walk around the block and straight back to the apartment building. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, because as soon as I got out, he set course for the town's fishing pond. I go there all the time with my dad, so even though it was a bit further away than I wanted, I didn't protest against going there. Yeah, but you're going there with like a creep. I don't trust this kid. Why the hell you want to go to the fishing pond for? You ain't even got a pole. The walk there took us about 10 to 15 minutes. The conversation we had wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but the further we went, the more uneasy I started to feel. Because he still didn't tell me that super important thing that he just had to tell me in person. Oh, he's waiting for just the right moment. Eventually, we made it to the lake, and I'm gonna be honest, I was really creeped out at that point, and even decided to tell him that I didn't want to go any further. He insisted on going just a bit further, and almost dragged me to a certain spot near the pond. The pond is pretty big, and on one side it's surrounded by buildings and streetlights, but on the other side is a small tree line with almost no lights, and you can probably guess which side Classbeard chose to drag me to. Yeah, this is not going to go well. You know that. You know that. Why don't you just run? At a certain point, we'll break the social veneer. I don't know that my life is not on the line at this point, so I'm going to leave forcibly. So we were there in a pretty dark part of the pond in the middle of the evening with no one around, and I got really scared at that moment and turned around to leave. I didn't care about what he wanted to tell me at that point. I just wanted to be back home, and then it happened. Classbeard grabbed me and turned me around to face him. He then proceeded to wrap himself around me, and no joke, all of my hairs stood up. I just wanted to jump out of my skin at that moment. He grabbed hold of me pretty tight, so it was really hard for me to move even a little bit. But at that point, I was just frozen from the shock, and when I finally came to, the preceding exchange happened. Classbeard, "Hey, you're so pretty, my lady." Yeah, he actually said milady. Neckbeards weren't even a thing over here back then, and he still somehow came to the conclusion that that word was the most amazing thing he could say to a girl. I mean, clearly neckbeards were over there back then. This is just your first encounter with one. LP is still frozen in shock, slowly coming through. What are you talking? Let go of me! I was almost in tears at that point. I was so scared and felt the panic attack slowly approaching. Classbeard, don't worry, I'll protect you. OP, utterly confused and afraid. What? Let go of me! At that point, I started to freak out and yell. Unfortunately, no one was around to hear it. Dude, this could have gone so much worse. I'm sure you are aware of how much worse this could have gone, but holy shit, man. This is why it's important to always maintain the boundary. Then Classbeard, totally ignoring how I felt about it, pulled me even closer and leaned in to kiss me. At that point, I just went full survival instinct, and the adrenaline from all the stress managed to give me enough strength to push him away. Just a little bit more strength than I would have pushed him into the frozen lake. I still regret not pushing him in for that. This might sound a bit awful, but trust me when I say that it would be deserved. And comical. So, you know, for the sake of comedy, I'm going to pretend that's what happened. You got him good. LP continues. The second I got out of his hold, I started running home. And when I say running, I mean running. Yeah, that's what I suggested earlier. Nothing wrong with that. I never ran that fast in my life, but unfortunately, due to all the anxiety and stress, I had almost non-existent stamina, so the only thing that gave me the power to run was the adrenaline. And that did not last very long, and I got exhausted pretty quick. Not to mention I was wearing a pretty thick winter coat and was also a bit sick. Due to all these unfortunate factors, Classbeard managed to catch up to me. Luckily, he didn't attempt to grab me again, but he still had the audacity to act like nothing happened and proceeded to claim that he would walk me home because he didn't want anything to happen to me. I felt so disgusted. Yeah, you're really the only one that presents any threat to me, and I'd like to walk home by myself. Me and my friend, Mr. Cutty Knife. I think this is a good example of why stamina training is so important. It might be the thick sweater, it might be because you were sick, etc., etc. Mostly I think it's because you don't move very much. You sit in your room a whole lot. And hey, that's okay, but I think we should be able to run for like a minimum of 5 to 15 minutes without stopping. Just in case zombies, you know? For your own good and survival.
Rule number 1, cardio. Zombies lead a very active lifestyle. So should you.
Pro tips for life, I guess. Continuing on, OP says he was relatively quiet the rest of the way back. I was mostly speed walking and managed to keep a decent distance between us. For the last few steps, I managed to catch my breath enough to make a final run for it. My poor mom watched this show of horror as I ran to the door with this guy hot on my heels. She opened the kitchen window and yelled at Classbeard to turn around and go home. Bless my amazing mom for that. Classbeard got scared from that and turned around to leave. Yeah, a little pervert. You should have ran out there with a broom and smacked him with it. The second I got home, I just completely broke down and started crying. Mom got to me straight away and calmed me down. I spent the entire evening in the living room with her, trying to process what even happened. Eventually, I calmed down enough to go lay down in my room, and to my horror, I looked at my phone, and what do you know? Classbeard wrote me a message. I was speechless when I read it, and here's why. I'm sorry, but this isn't gonna work out. I didn't believe him. We were never a thing. We didn't even talk that much before. I wouldn't even really say he was my friend because we barely spoke. Do you think you could ask your friend Redacted if she'd be interested in me? Yeah, I'm not gonna inflict you on anybody that I know. Or anybody that I don't. My worst enemy in the world, I would not subject them to you. You are desperate, you are stinky, nobody in the world is going to like you. You have a lot of work to do in yourself. And you know, like I said early on, he's young, but that doesn't give him carte blanche to do whatever he wants. You know, these are the signs of something terrible brewing if his parents don't grab the wheel and steer him back onto the right course or whatever. I guess all I can really do is hope for the best. OP says, the second I read the message, I blocked him and wrote that friend, who's my BFF, by the way, what he wrote me, and I also told her what had happened. Now here comes the part about him thinking he's entitled to every girl in class. My best friend wrote me that he tried this on pretty much every girl in our class, but I was somehow left out of that conversation, so I had no idea that he was doing this. I was a bit mad at my friends and other friends for not telling me, because that would have saved me a lot of trauma. I mean, yeah, spilled milk, I guess. I like to think that they would have told you if they knew that you were the next target. On the next day at school, Classbeard pretended that yesterday's evening events never even happened and ignored me, but I didn't really mind that because I didn't want to even make eye contact with him. Until today, I never accept anyone's offer to go out after sundown because of this experience. Damn, you really let him steal the entire nightlife from you? Something happened when I was 14. I can't go outside after dark. At a certain point, you gotta balls up and try and break the curse, OP. I love the nightlife. I love to boogie.
On the disco round,
At least it does seem like the curse was sort of broken, because OP says after graduation, Classbeard disappeared from my life completely, and the last I heard, he was actually arrested because he apparently committed bodily harm on a young girl on the street. So justice was eventually served for me and all the other poor girls that he tried to take advantage of. Dude, that is creepy. Like I said, it was leading towards some dark things, and there you go. That's the end result. Don't let your babies grow up to be neckbeards, okay? For God's sake. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the story. Never thought I'd share it, but after listening to a bunch of Neckbeard stories from Tim Tam Tom, oh hey, that's a guy that still posts, I decided to post this one. I've got a few more stories because it looks like I've got the worst luck on attracting neckbeards in my area, especially 2 Neckbeard brothers from next door. So if anyone's interested in those stories, I'll be more than happy to post them as well. And yes, indeed, she's got a story featuring 2 brothers and 2 parts, but I think we'll save that for another video. I'm fairly burnt out for the day. But we had a lot of fun, didn't we? I hope that you guys will like the video or share it around. That would be cool. You can sign up on the Patreon or the YouTube memberships if you'd like to support us month to month. I just put a special never-before-seen patrons video up about divorce-flavored milk, so hopefully you'll go check that out if it intrigues. If you don't want to be a member, maybe you check out the Fourth Wall, buy some merch. That'd be cool. All else fails, that's fine. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'd like you to always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one, so until then, bye-bye.
何バカ何バカ何バカ何バカ何バカ